Welcome to this episode of FTK Feature Focus. I'm Justin Tolman with Xtero, and today we have a really cool episode because we are joined by Bill Smead, who is an engineer here at Xtero, and we were talking in chat the other day, and he had this work through that he was going through. I thought it was really cool, and so I wanted him to come on and show you, and Bill has been a great sport, willing to come on and do that. So, Bill, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Good. And Bill, since you've never been on the YouTube or the podcasts, let's do a little bit of an introduction or a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Bill Smead. I've been a computer forensic practitioner and in the e-discovery space for about 20 years now, and recently joined Xtero about 3 months ago. And I'm happy to supply some of my knowledge as well as some of my experience with the tools with our customers.
Cool. So what we were talking about a little while ago is you've got a workflow here that actually was brought up by a client, and you sorted out how they could do that. And I don't want to spoil it, so because I'm going to let you go through it. And so got you on here. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Start where you want to start, and we'll just go down through it.
Sounds good. I had a customer ask me about collecting registry keys from within FTK Enterprise, and FTK Enterprise has the ability to reach out to individual machines and pull specific pieces of information from them, whether that be files or running processes, or in this case, the registry. So he was asking whether or not a partial registry could be collected versus the entire registry. So that's what we're going to go through today.
Cool. Very cool.
So from within a case inside of FTK Enterprise, the first thing you're going to want to do is go up here to Evidence, and you're going to select Evidence, Add Remove, and you're going to be adding and removing remote data. Now, in this case, I have pre-selected some agents. I've pre-deployed the agents out in the field. So by clicking on the red and blue box, it allows me to see a list of agents that I've previously deployed. So in this case, I have 2 of them. And I'm going to go ahead and select the second one. And then I'm going to go over, and in this case, again, I'm going to be doing registry information. So I'm going to go ahead and click the registry information setting here, and then go down and click OK. It's now going to ask me which registry keys I want to be able to select. Rather than selecting the entire registry, as this customer asked, he was looking for just a partial to be collected. In order to do that, you would go ahead and click on Custom, and then click on the double arrow that's going to bring that over as a selected. And then it's going to ask you which registry key you want to collect. So you're going to go ahead and click the pull down, and it'll show you the high-level keys. In this case, I'm going to do HKey users, and go ahead and select that. You now have the opportunity for putting in a key path. If you had a specific part of the registry that you wanted to get to that's lower than the top level hives, you can put that in there. I would recommend that you do not try to select too much at one time. As an example, if you did all of HKLM software, that is going to take some time to finish, and it's going to bog down your machine for a bit. So it's generally best to start small and see where that goes. I do want to select the box for include subkeys, and then click OK. And then it's going to begin the acquisition process. Each one of these 3 steps is going to take a little bit of time to complete. And again, the larger you've asked for, the longer that this is going to take. So once that's completed, you can go ahead and close the processing window. And then this brings you back to the FTK Enterprise lead screen. Within this screen, I want to go over to the Volatile tab. And if you've worked with classic FTK, this is a new tab for you. If you've worked in Enterprise, of course, it's a tab you've worked with before. But this is where it's going to place the information that it's reached out and grabbed from a specific live running machine. So if I click on Volatile, you can see on the left-hand side here, I have Evidence, and then I have my registry keys. When I click on the registry keys to expand those, you can see that it has a date and time for the most recent acquisition that I've done. If you highlight that on the right-hand side now, you can see the registry keys that I selected. And again, remember I did HKey current users. and it's going to display those in the order in which it's collected. I recommend that you click on path to sort those alphabetically. Makes it a little bit easier for you to be able to run through the list. Then you can scroll down there, you can see the values. If you click on a particular registry key, you're going to see the value down at the bottom. Now I'm going to open a different product. I'm going to open a program on the machine, in this case SQL Server, and I'm going to open up a file in there to show you how a user making a change on their PC is going to affect the registry items that are collected. So if I do File, and let's come down to Recent Files, you can see I've opened 3 files. I've opened SQL Query 1, 2, and 3, not in order. I opened those out of order on purpose so we can see later the effect of that. So the most recent file that I've opened in this case is SQL Server 3. Let me go up and I'm going to open a new file. And let me just open 4, for instance. So I've opened that file. And when I come back up to the recently used items, you can see they're all listed again in the same order. First file that I opened was 2, then 1, then 3, then 4. So let's come back to FTK and collect the registry a second time. So I'm going to go through the same steps. And through the magic of editing, that comes up a little bit faster. And you can see now I have 2 registries that have been collected, or 2 different times and dates those have been collected. And there is a feature that's unique to this tool that allows you to take a look at these 2 registries and see how they have changed. And that's really what this customer was looking for. So by clicking on the tab that says Difference, on the right-hand side, you can see where there's the green and the red and the white button. We can have it set up so it can show one registry collection in red, the other registry collection in green, so that you can see the differences between those. So let's go ahead and highlight one of these and expand it. Then we're going to highlight the other one and expand it. Now, in order to see the differences, I want to right-click on one of them and left-click on the other one. So I'm going to right-click and left-click, and you can see now the first one is turned green and the second one is turned red. If you did it in the other order, of course, the green and red would be flipped.
Sure, that's cool.
Yeah. So what this allows you to do now on the right-hand side is if there was anything that was either in the registry or if you'd collected memory or running processes, the first collection will be in one color and the second collection will be in a second color. And then if there was anything in common between the 2, it'll simply be the white, which is standard black and white. So as before, I would recommend sorting by path. And then you can drag through this list. You can drag the cursor through the list to be able to see the changes as you go. And it's important to note that the only changes to the key names are going to be shown up front, not the key values. If you are interested in a key value, and again, what we were looking at was the most recently used list, you can scroll to that point. And when you get to that particular item, you can see it did not change. The item was already in there, so it hasn't changed from green to red. But down at the bottom, the key value has changed. Remember, originally I had opened 3 files from within SQL Server, and now I've opened 4. So you can see the difference between the 3 and the 4 here. So it's a nice visual indicator that something has changed. And then if I go down to the next item and click that one, you can see that this follows exactly what we saw within the external program. You can see that the exact same 4 items are shown that would be in the most recently used list or the recents within SQL Server and in the same order. And the difference now is, of course, I have an additional item here. This SQL Server 4 was opened most recently, so it's highlighted in red to be able to show the differences.
And because the other ones are white, that means it was found in both of them, so that it stayed consistent or whatever, right?
You got it. You got it. So basically, that's what I wanted to show you today. That was able to satisfy my customer's immediate needs. He had not used Enterprise before to do a collection of registries at this level to be able to see whether or not he can just do a partial versus grabbing the entire registry, which of course takes longer.
So one thing I wanted to point out as well, this workflow is amazing because it reduces the amount of data and it's very clear in what has changed. But you mentioned it right at the beginning that you had pre-deployed the agents. And that's one thing that I think is really cool about how FTK Enterprise does it is you don't have to deploy a new agent every time you want to do an analysis. You deploy an agent and it's going to sit out there. It's going to stay on that machine for as long as you want and remain active and effective so that you can do these types of analysis. Because like here, like you pull once, then you pull again and are able to compare. So
Absolutely. And I did this in a very rapid succession between the two collections. You could do this over a number of days, over a number of weeks to be able to see how a device was used over time.
absolutely. Cool. I think this is a great workflow because it really shows an effective way to compare activity on a user's machine quickly across the network, and as you mentioned, even across the public internet if you're using our off-network collection. And it's a very useful workflow. And Bill, I appreciate you coming on and sharing this with us.
Well, thanks for having me, Justin. All right, have a good one.